Hello, ladies and gentlemen. In today's episode of It's Time to Talk, we will be discussing matters related to performance. How can we improve performance? How can we measure performance? What kind of activities can we do in order to secure and preserve good performance of both mobile and web applications? And together with me is my special guest, Paweł Leszczyński. Hello, Paweł. How you doing?
Hello, I'm fine. Thanks a lot. Good to see you, Mike.
Please tell me a few words about characteristics of the projects that you've been working recently, how your impact as a quality assurance tester could improve the performance of the applications that you've been working on.
Sure. So right now I'm in a little bit specific project. So we are focusing on the front end because our client gave us his backend. We have a lot of data which we need to work on. So we create a lot of charts, a lot of columns, a lot of calculators, and so this is it. Usually, in my projects, the biggest effort was on the backend. In here, it's a little bit different. A really big impact, a really big complexity is on the front end side. It's unusual, but a few months ago, I was in the project which is a classic project. So a lot of logic were on the backend, and I had possibility to perform performance tests there.
Okay.
And that was a client from event industry. So we needed to check if during those events everything will be fine, because on those days, on those events, traffic could be much bigger than usual. I can tell you more details a little bit later, but it was also really fascinating product.
Okay. You mentioned that the first projects that you're currently working on is full of biases, and so is it related to data visualization?
Yes. We have a lot of different pages, charts, and elements, which are not so easy to create and test on the performance on the front end side. And this is a challenge for us, but actually this project is in Merix from 3 or even 4 years.
All
So I think that client is happy with our work.
All right, then. No, I was asking about this because our audience perhaps may be interested in our other episode where we are typically tackling the issue of designing beautiful dashboards, analytical dashboards. Okay, then. So let's talk a little bit about gathering requirements when it comes to performance. How does this process look like? What kind of metrics clients are outlining when describing performance, expected performance of their application?
Sure. So I think that the best possible place or a person who can give us knowledge is a client.
Okay.
Sometimes clients know their specific requirements. They know about the potential traffic in the future. But of course, it's not the only place. Sometimes there are industries like when lives of people or animals are in danger or are connected with our app sometimes. So we need to be sure that everything works there in case of a little bigger traffic, because some people can rely on this app simply.
Okay.
So for instance, maybe this example, there is an app when you are in Polish mountains, you can call for emergency, specifically from the app. You don't need to know any other details. So we need to be sure that in case of a long weekend in Poland, there can be many situations when people call for help. We need to be sure that everything's work fine during that time. But let's imagine that we have e-commerce product. You have shop with, I don't know, shoes, and there are some days like Black Friday or Cyber Monday, and on 99% during that time the traffic would be higher than on any other weekend or any other day during year. So we can talk with our client, we can check other e-commerce products, and be prepared for really high traffic, or even sometimes we can test traffic bigger than expected to check what will happen with our product.
All right, then. It's a good thing that you mentioned the mountaineering application, because I like to walk around Polish mountains, me and my wife, and I know that this solution saved a lot of lives and helped intervene in a lot of situations, because the tourism movement in Poland is quite strong around the mountaineering site. Okay, then. So what is the good moment to actually start working on the performance of the application?
So like many other situations, probably the best moment is from the very beginning, but maybe not even testing and working on the performance in a way that we can imagine so many thousands of users, but probably during gathering requirements, if we know some details from the client, that, for instance, he or she expects thousands of people from the very first day, it can affect backend and DevOps work. So the whole architecture, the whole idea of some endpoints, of some functionalities, because usually we can create something very simple, working, but probably not prepared for hundreds or thousands of people. When we will know it from the very beginning, our thinking can be different, our awareness can be different, and it will be very useful to know those things. When we are thinking about testing, probably a good moment is when the whole functionality is ready, or a few functionalities are ready, to test whole user journey, to know how it will behave under high traffic.
All right.
So simply, sometimes I notice that in project or discussion with a client starts at the end of a project, about performance. All right, so how our performance looks like. In my opinion, it's a little bit late and can be pretty expensive. In that case, sooner probably means better.
All right, and so to summarize, because I think this is a very important thought, many people believe in this misconception where they think that the app can be built and the performance can be measured or improved. I mean, it can be improved at further stages, yeah, but it's much, much easier to secure good performance of the application if the application is from the beginning built following some good practices and principles. Yeah, so this is why it's so important to get to know what kind of performance we may need to expect in the beginning of the project. Yeah, because it helps us to limit the budget, it helps us to spend less time on the product, and so on and so on. Okay.
Exactly. Probably we can spend some extra time on some endpoint, which in normal case we will just leave because everything is fine. But we will be super focused on query to database that it will be as fast as possible, because in situation of thousands of people, it can have some impact. In case of normal traffic, probably it will be good enough to stop earlier.
Sure. All right. Thank you. So, Paweł, what is the toolbox of a modern quality assurance tester? What kind of tools, solutions, services do you use to come up with an efficient work?
Sure. So at the very beginning, we can think about Chrome DevTools and Postman. Those are really those are basics, and probably testers use it not only for performance testing, but to simply test API or test some features. But this is a really good basic to check single endpoint, to check how long it takes to give us a response. But probably more tools which are more connected with performance are K6, Locus, or JMeter, and those tools give us possibility to test this high traffic, those thousands of people, to actually handle a situation when so many people are using it. We can add their additional checks and additional. We can expect additional things during those tests. So sometimes we don't need to spend a lot of time during checking reports after those tests, because if we create those tests properly, we will know everything after those tests ends, because we have those checks, we have those expectation. There are two more types of tools which I should mention. So this is monitoring tools.
Okay.
For instance, it's Grafana. This is a kind of tool. So we simply monitor some important metrics like CPU usage or memory consumption. We know which endpoints or which places in our app use a lot of those memories. And also sometimes when clients have already production set up and people are there, during high traffic, we also get some information about some problems or some places we should focus on. And one last but not least is CI/CD integration tools.
All right.
So, for instance, we are working with GitLab CI. So QA testers usually integrate those performance tests in that kind of tool to be sure that after some changes in the code, the performance is still on a high level.
All right, then. Thank you very much. I met an opinion that modern testers are actually sentenced to K6 or Locus. Can you explain why, or maybe not?
All right. So I think that yes, they are sentenced, but from some level of testing, because at the very beginning, when we know that we should be aware about performance, we can check some things with Postman on Chrome DevTools, and we can alarm people from our project or a client that something is wrong. But when we want to perform those tests, like tens of users, hundreds of users, thousands of users, probably there is no better possibility or opportunity than those tools, so K6 or Locust, and simply check if we have some bottlenecks with those tools.
Can you recall any problem with performance in a project and actions that team had to introduce to improve the performance of the application?
Sure, I remember the great example. So on this call, I mentioned this e-commerce product project. Yes. So we had a product which give you a possibility to sell some things. So let's imagine, Mike, that you have a cup and you want to sell it to other people. And you add some details like description, price, some other details which you want to share with people. But also you can add, for instance, shirt.
All right.
And in case of shirt, it's a little bit different case because you can have 5 sizes of this shirt and 5 colors. So during setup, during creating this product, you already create 25 possibilities or possible products, because every size can have every color, right? And because of that, in the database, we needed to create 25 products, not one. And actually, we find out it was actually at the a little bit late, because almost before the release to production, that this feature is really complicated and maybe not the best from the performance perspective. And if you want to create that kind of product, so a lot of different possibilities, a lot of different colors, sizes, factors, this creation could be really slow. And in case of that situation, the response from the server could be so long that you even could see timeout. So the response is too long, and the server can't respond to your request. We needed some time to improve that. It occurs that the problem was in the query to database.
All right.
We needed to set up a staging a little bit earlier that we wanted, because maybe you know, or maybe you don't know, that usually staging has very similar settings like production, and I mean resources which we can use. Our development environments usually has those resources really small because of money. Resources are money. So we needed to set up staging earlier to actually test this feature properly and be sure that everything works there great.
All right, then. Thank you very much. So, speaking about resources, what kind of resources are needed to secure good performance?
All right, so for sure, people, and it's not only QA specialist who is familiar with performance testing, but also a backend developer,
Mhm.
and a person from DevOps team.
Okay.
And at the very beginning, this DevOps person, this DevOps specialist, need to set up our environment to give possibility to scale,
Mhm.
to scale up, because even if a backend developer work, I don't know, 10 years on some feature, it will be hard to handle thousands of users at one time. We need to give some additional resources.
Okay.
But like we mentioned just a few minutes ago, resources are really expensive, or can be
Mhm.
expensive. So we want to have those resources on a high level only in case of high traffic. So DevOps specialists need to set up environment in a way that only in case of high traffic we add resources. We add some memory or CPU resources, and
Mhm.
thanks to that, we will be sure that our client won't pay too much, but
Mhm.
we are sure that this high traffic will be handled. Also, backend developer, because when we find out something, we will need to discuss it with backend developer to be sure, to know actually what needs to be improved, which places, which endpoints in one case. So we need to be in touch with backend developer all the time. And also during performance tests, client knowledge and client person will be
Mhm.
really useful, because we can share with results with a client and decide what to do, what also should be checked if these results are satisfying. So that small team in our project team will be really useful to secure good performance.
Okay, then. Ladies and gentlemen, securing good performance of the applications is not just a matter, or it's not just a subject of interest of quality assurance testers. It actually is dependable on activities done by entire team. Therefore, the team has to be skilled, competent, but also well coordinated. There needs to be a good communication between testers, developers, project management, other stakeholders and members who are involved in the process. If you would like to learn more about the way how to secure good performance, how to improve performance of existing app, or how to build from scratch an app, both mobile or web, or some other app, if you would like to learn how to improve the performance of such app or make it good from the beginning, feel free to reach out to us. We are all yours. Thank you very much for watching today's episode. This was It's Time to Talk from Merrick Studio. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you very much. Bye.